If you're a woman, this might be the most important video you ever watch about maintaining sexual attraction in a relationship or building a relationship from the beginning that has juicy passion and sexual attraction as part of its DNA for the long term. Hey, it's Alex Allman, and in today's video I want to talk to you about the most important tip, most important idea that you can have as a woman if you want to maintain a juicy, passionate, sexually active relationship with your man for a long-term relationship that lasts years and years and years. And if you're a single woman, then this one idea is going to allow you to foundationally build something with a man that's going to excite him and thrill him, and that's going to make him want to build something with you. If you can really get this idea and you can run with it and really bring it into your relationship with a man, it's going to set you up for great sex for the rest of your life, and also it's going to set him up with great sex for the rest of his life in a monogamous relationship. So what is this idea that is so powerful and yet so rare and unique? Well, it's simply giving a man the acceptance and even the reassurance and the encouragement to be a man and to behave and to act out of his masculine core. And I get emails from women all the time saying, you know, my man has lost attraction from me and I think it's because of this and this and this. They very rarely point the finger at themselves, but somehow through the course of the conversation, it becomes increasingly clear to me that in fact they are in many ways at cause in diminishing their man's masculinity. They don't mean to. This is something that most women do very unconsciously and without really giving it any thought, and certainly not maliciously. Women are not trying to undermine men or cut them off from their masculinity, but they end up doing it anyway in many, many subtle ways that eventually makes him feel like less of a man, and particularly makes him feel less of a man when he's around you. Sometimes men are strangely competitive. There's this guy at work that he's got this weird thing about and he's competitive with, and every time he brings it up, you're kind of like, why are you letting this bother you? You're being a bit of an idiot right now. This is no big deal. Why don't you just let it go? There are certain areas around where he's not feeling powerful, where he feels a need to be powerful. There may be certain things in his sense of humor that are particularly masculine that you think are just kind of stupid or even just in bad taste, and you subtly punish him for these things. And finally, and probably most importantly, is that a lot of women punish their man for their masculine sexuality. And part of masculine sexuality is being attracted to women. You may find your man's deep interest in the Victoria's Secret catalog or in looking at other attractive, perhaps younger or skinnier women. You may find that threatening. You certainly may find it irritating. You might find it in bad taste or even disrespectful to you. And you have a lot of grounds for this. You've got a lot of good reasons for this. But the paradox is that to the degree that you find it threatening, to the degree that you want to cap it, make him bad and wrong for it, he will begin to hide it from you, and him hiding it from you is the first step to him hiding his sexual desire from you, and then eventually finding other outlets for his sexual desire, whether actually having an affair or just really finding his sexual outlet in looking at pornography or looking at women in magazines or fantasizing about other women, because what you've unconsciously done is you've begun to make him feel kind of weird whenever he feels kind of horny. His sexual desire is being nipped by you as something that's bad and wrong. The one side, there's all these ways in which you can subtly undermine his sexuality and his masculine desire, and on the other hand, there are ways that you can powerfully support his being okay around expressing sexual desire. When you become that woman, it allows you to become his most powerful and trusted sexual outlet, and it gives him a strong motivation to begin to build with you authentically from what's real for him, from what he's actually sexually attracted to, and not just what he has to pretend is okay because you're feeling prude about certain things. And what most women do is if a man has a sexual desire for something that they don't want to do, is they feel an insecurity around it, like, uh-oh, he wants something and I'm not the girl who can deliver that. And that insecurity around it makes her want to be like, well, you're kind of sick and wrong for wanting that. I'm not the wrong one for not wanting that. I'm not prude. No, it's you're sick and wrong. And you don't have to say those words to give him that feeling, because when he gets that sense of negative emotion from you, even if you don't say it out loud, when he gets that sense of negative emotion from you, he thinks, I have to hide this from my woman. I have to hide a piece of my masculine sexuality for my woman. And again, once he starts hiding it, it's no longer yours. And there are other ways to handle this. There are ways to actually validate and make him feel good and strong about his masculinity. And when you can do that, and it's not necessarily involving any kind of self-humiliation or having to take him flirting with other women when you're at a party and all these things that you could find legitimately upsetting, there are ways around this, clever ways around this, that allow you to make him feel really good about his sexual desires. And the more he feels good and safe about his sexual desires with you, the more he's going to express them with you. And when he really feels like he can express these things, the opposite happens. He really begins to feel sexually juiced up around you. He's looking forward to the opportunity to exploring things with you that he's never had the courage to explore, even by himself. Maybe even in his darkest fantasies alone, he would combat and wrong. He would point at it himself. So you have the capacity to kind of sexually heal your man. And in doing that, you will unleash his masculinity when you're around. And this is exactly what you want. And at the same time, that gives him motivation to afford you the respect and afford you the value to make certain sacrifices in his desires for you. And the key distinction here is that he willingly gives up this for that, not he's wrong for wanting this in the first place. And that's a powerful distinction, because men love a big pile of cash. Men love it. There are very few men who don't want a big pile of cash. Men also like fast sports cars. And frequently they will exchange the big pile of cash for the sports car, and they won't look back and regret it. In the same way, a man will give up a big pile of every other woman on earth for you if it's worth it. And it becomes worth it when he feels no shame around you, when he feels that he can be sexually self-expressed around you. That there are a lot of ways to become sexually attractive to a man, which include, dressing in less clothing or losing some weight. The ability of these superficial things to attract a man, while they may work in the short term, they lose their power very, very quickly. And the things that I talk about in this next video, and what we talked about here in this video, are things that maintain sexual attraction. And I think it's so important for women to learn and understand these things, because a lot of times men lack the motivation to understand them all by themselves. And sometimes they need a good woman to open the doorways for them to these new forms of passion, to the possibility of lasting sexual satisfaction. And that's why I made this next video. I hope you'll take a look at it. It's a little bit on the long side. It's worth it. There's some really important tips and information in there on how to create the kind of relationship that every human craves, lasting love and passion. So click the link on this video, and I will see you on the other side. This is Alex Holman for Revolutionary Sex. Thanks for your time, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you again next week.